name is Victor Marwin, master craftsman in woodworking. My studio is located at the Niagara Arts and Cultural Center, 1201 Pine Avenue in Niagara Falls. I've always been interested in woodworking. My family and I, when I was a young boy, lived near a lumber yard, and back in those times, there were quite a few lumber yards scattered around Buffalo and Western New York. And prior to my generation, because of the location of the Erie Canal and the waterways, Buffalo, when it was at its peak in industry, was a main route for lumber to travel through. So during my summer vacations, I used to love to stand at the door at one of the yards that we lived by and just watch the guys in the mill work, and they would toss out scrap wood, and I would ask them for pieces to bring home and try and make things out. Well, in the past, the type of projects I worked on was everything from furniture for the White House, and that primarily was when I was at the Kittinger Company. One of the biggest pieces that I worked on was the 1983 Economic Summit Talk meeting table for Ronald Reagan. Beyond that, all kinds of residential furniture, besides more of furniture from the White House, cabinet members would leave, and they were allowed to take their chair, and we'd have to make a new one for the next one coming in. We'd build fireside chat chairs for Jimmy Carter, all kinds of residential furniture for Hollywood stars, and just Western New Yorkers who had an appreciation for that stuff. I built custom office furniture, basically any type of application of furniture and any type of architectural application in woodworking that you can think of, I've done. I have a harp from the 1800s that I'm restoring, and a couple of other restoration projects that I have to reproduce to look original, which is always a fun thing for me, reproducing old paint to make it look a couple hundred years old. And also I am building two guitars. The challenges of working on a guitar or any instrument, whether I'm building one or I'm repairing or restoring one, is the primary challenge is there's zero room for error. If it's a fretboard, every cut has to be exact. There's no close enough. If it's close enough, it's not it. If it's not it, the note will be wrong. The bridge and the nut placement has to be correct. The body has to be absolutely beautiful. If it has resonant tendencies, then I have to select the right wood, the right grain of the wood. Certain grains of the wood are selected for necks so that they don't twist or warp down the road a few years down. They won't necessarily do them right away, this warpage right away, but if you select the correct wood and um, the right combination, then you won't have those problems. It's the challenges are different in. It's almost like looking at a piece of jewelry. The closer you get, the better it has to look. I mean, it has to be perfection has to be there. And if there's any inlays involved, there's just absolutely no room for error. You have to look at this piece of musical instrument under a magnifying glass, and it's got to look good and sound good, obviously. The kinds of tools that I use is everything from antique hand tools that I've collected over the years, and from wooden planes for shaping moldings, antique carving tools for the carving that I do, to state-of-the-art electronic machinery and power tools. I was trained at Kittinger by the Europeans in the traditional fashion of just using hand tools. We weren't even allowed to use electric power tools for a couple of years until we had more or less mastered the hand tooling. And I'm glad that that occurred, because I'm very capable of using both hand and power tools. Some of the machinery that I have, pretty basic stuff, a planer joiner, table saw, bandsaw, lathe, sanders, chop saws. Most good shops would have that, but I have a collection of hand tools that I practically use every day. I do all of the aspects of the project. I've decided a while ago, some years back, when I realized that when I understood my skill level, that I'd have to take it a step further and put myself into different hats, such as finishing. All of the finishing I do is done by myself, and it's not just simple finishing. It's everything from a high-quality lacquer finish for furniture to French polish to any type of milk paint, or any type of aspects of finishing. Hand carving I do all of myself. I never used to in the past. I used to give it out to carvers that I know, but I decided to take the step, and some of us other woodworkers have this drive and desire to learn all of the aspects of the project, so that start to finish I have my hand on it, and I really don't have to depend on any other facets of the craftsmanship to sub my work out to anybody else. And that's what makes me different, or I will say what makes a few of us different.